You're now listening to the Engage the Rockies podcast, your go-to podcast for local and state issues concerning Colorado.
Hello, Rockies. This is Sarah Jane Maroney, your host, and welcome to the Week in Review for the third week of March in 2025. First up, Mayor Mabolde was in Washington from the 8th of March to the 12th of March for the National League of Cities annual Congressional City Conference, where thousands of city officials meet with federal staff and members of Congress. And Mayor Mabolde met with the Office of Intergovernmental Affairs. This is the liaison between President Trump's White House staff and local governments nationwide. And while he was there, he offered to have Colorado Springs serve as a sounding board and testing ground for national policies. And the issues that he offered to provide feedback would include local impacts of executive orders and possible funding freezes. Only one of those funding freezes has affected Colorado Springs to date. Other city staff that traveled to Washington as well made cases on the military side. And obviously, many people in Colorado Springs have been concerned about the retaining U.S. Space Command. And Mayor Mabolde said, no news is good news. Moving further afield, there's a program called Legislation Inside. This allows prisoners to be able to earn law degrees. Jamie Ray, a legal fellow at the University of Colorado's Corey Wise Innocent Project, started Legislation Inside in 2021. The Innocent Project took the program under its wing in 2023, and over the past years, Legislation Inside has expanded to 13 Colorado jail facilities and about 35 peer-elected inmate representatives. These meet once a week over a Zoom to discuss criminal justice legislation, hear from guest speakers, and brainstorm ideas for bills. And some facilities even hold weekly town halls in which the representatives get to inform the peers about the work they're doing and anything that is going on at the Capitol that may affect them. After some of these brainstorming sessions, the Legislation Inside participants drafted House Bill 1214 in 2023. It would have provided consistency and transparency around the application process for sentencing commutations. And the inmates say that the process is extremely confusing and very inconsistent. It passed through both the House and the Senate, but it was vetoed by Governor Polis due to concerns about constitutionality. So even though they were disappointed at the outcome, this has actually just emboldened them and encouraged them more that they can do further bills and affect further change. So this year they are running another bill to create a Legislation Inside Advisory Council that would be charged with identifying, examining, and discussing issues and interests and needs for Colorado prisoners. On Thursday, UCCS was notified by the Department of Education that they are being investigated. There was a complaint regarding the school's College of Business use of a faculty recruiting platform hosted by the PhD Project. And this is part of President Trump's anti-DEI campaign, and it specifically relates to the PhD Project. The chancellor of UCCS, Jennifer Sobonet, said that, quote, "At this point, we believe we have only used this platform to advertise open faculty positions, one tool of many our college uses to recruit qualified faculty," end quote. Most of the inquiries are focused on partnerships with the PhD Project, which is a nonprofit that helps students from unrepresented groups get degrees in business with the goal of diversifying the business world. 6 other colleges are being investigated for this as well. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office are taking applications and recruiting residents for a participation program called the Sheriff's Posse. This is a citizen-based initiative that trains and utilizes volunteers for lots of different duties, including and not limited to accident, traffic control, security at crime scenes, animal complaints, lost and found, all sorts of things. And the applications are due on March 24th. So that's right around the corner, but you have the weekend to still get it in. You can go to epcsheriffsoffice.com/employment-opportunities. Engage the Rockies is always encouraging citizens to join boards and various volunteer positions. So this is a prime opportunity for you. So CSPD has been rather busy. 6 different gunshot injuries or related incidents and no deaths, thankfully. A canine officer found a handgun that police believe is associated with a shooting. And there was another shooting that Sand Creek Division responded to, and then the Gold Hill Division was called to the hospital, but they believe that both of those incidents were related. There was another shooting in the downtown area around 2 a.m. on Saturday night. And then on Friday, the 2500 block of Asteron Circle, again, another shooting. And then Thursday, another man hospitalized, obviously reported to the police because he came in with a gunshot wound. And then finally, there was a Sierra High School incident involving juveniles. However, it had nothing to do with the high school. It didn't happen on the school grounds, just that some of the students that were off on their lunch had witnessed it. But it drew quite a large law enforcement presence. And then finally, the police were attempting to contact an identified individual who opened the apartment door with a raised handgun, and one officer fired in response. And that officer has been put on administrative leave, which is per procedure. And so again, no deaths, but 6 different incidences involving gunshot wounds and or brandishing of firearms. I didn't know this, but you can call 719-444-7000 and remain anonymous if you have any information. But at any point in time, that number can get you to the community assistance and report information to the police. You'll recall that we reported that Senator Jaquez Lewis resigned earlier this month after allegations about mistreating legislative aides and allegedly falsifying letters of support. So she is now under investigation from both the Boulder County District Attorney and Denver. The reason this is important is that the vacancy committee for Senate District 17, which was former Senator Jaquez Lewis's district, have met. This includes some of Longmont, and it has 114 members. They had 8 different candidates submit nomination letters, and Katie Wallace, the executive director of the Colorado Democratic Senate Campaign Fund, won on the first balloting with 58.78% of the vote. The process that Colorado uses to fill vacant Senate seats has come under scrutiny in recent months, and about 1 in 4 Colorado state lawmakers first landed their seat through a vacancy committee. As of March 2025, there are 18 Democratic state legislators in Colorado appointed by vacancy committee. And this is 11 state reps and 7 senators. And the total, including both Republican and Democrat, is 21, representing about a fifth of the 100-member General Assembly. And this is down from last year when it was 29 legislators who had been appointed through vacancy committees. State Representative Bob Marshall, Democrat from Highlands Ranch, said last year, quote, "Do we want to continue playing our incestuous Game of Thrones down there, or do we want to really do some real reform? I think that's something people need to look inside themselves and decide," end quote. He introduced a resolution last year that would ban lawmakers that were selected by a vacancy committee for running for the seat in the next election. However, that never made it off the House floor. Most states hold special elections, but those cost a bit of money, or they allow that the governor appoints the interim replacements. It's just rather interesting that 1/5 of the Colorado legislature has been appointed, not elected. And those are the top stories for the third week of March in 2025. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for listening to the Engage the Rockies podcast, your go-to podcast for local and state issues concerning Colorado.